Hello everyone and welcome back. Super excited to do this video today. We're going to be going over a brand new feature released for DayZ Sentinel, our Discord integration bot for your console DayZ servers. Today we're going to review the Sentinel Detective. What is the detective? Very simply put, it's going to allow you to track player movement, events and activities that happen on your DayZ server in chronological order. So it's going to be great for investigations. Let's jump right into it. Once you add the Sentinel Detective, it is an add-on feature that you can turn on and off for your DayZ server. Your server will show up as an available choice, and then we're going to retrieve data to start our investigation. Of course, Detective works with whatever data you have available, right? So it depends on what your DayZ server has available at the time, and we will retrieve that data and analyze it for you. So as you can see, the investigation is done. We retrieved all the available data, and the first thing we see here on the left is a list of gamer tags. So there's a couple of different ways that you can search and investigate events. Let's start with the first one. I'm gonna pick a gamer tag that's got a lot of data here to start. So let's go down the list and see. All right, this guy here, we can see that we've got about 289 different positions recorded across the time span of the investigation, and we've got about 34 different unique events associated with this gamer tag. So let's go ahead and select it. Once you select a gamer tag, you will see them show up here selected for investigation. And of course, as you select gamer tags or deselect them, they will get removed from the investigation. The other thing that's worth noting is when you select a gamer tag, the events associated with that player will show up in the events found filter to the right of the player. So if, for example, you're looking for somebody that placed an IED somewhere and you suspect a particular gamer tag, if you click on this gamer tag, you can immediately see this player was not it, right? Because the event does not show up. So let's go back to our original player. We can see that this particular player built a gate, built about 4 fences, packed a couple of tents, placed a couple of tents, and we've of course got a bunch of connected and disconnected events, and he got knocked out a couple of times. So let's dive right in. So for starters, I'm not gonna select any events. I'm just gonna show you what the timeline looks like with nothing selected. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll have a slider to go over player movements, and then you'll also have a play button if you want to watch the action real time. So let's first just move the slider. We can see that that's the start of the trail here. That's the first time we picked him up on the server. And if you move the slider, you can see player movements across the map. It looks like he made his way all the way down north of Electro, all the way up to northwest. And then you can kind of tell I'm still playing with the slider here. There's no activity there. Okay, well let's start adding events. So I'm gonna select when the player connected and when the player disconnected. So now these 2 events will be rendered on the map. So now you can see we've got a player disconnected event here. I'm gonna go ahead and click it, and that'll give us the name of the event and of course the locations. And as always, you have your button to look at this link on iSurvive if you want a little bit more granular position of where the event took place. So let's go back and scroll all the way back, and let's bring it here. So now we see that he disconnected there. I want to keep moving the slider. Let's see where we pick up the reconnect. There it is. So right around this time, we see the player connected again. Let's click on this event. Perfect, that's the date and time. Now let's continue looking at player movement over here. Perfect, and that's another disconnection event. So let's just do really quick. Let me show you what the play button does. Let's go back here. I'm gonna hit play. Now you can see the time is increasing, and of course it's moving very slow. You know, DayZ generates new logs every 10 minutes, sometimes up to 20 minutes or so. So let's speed this up a little bit, give it a little bit more resolution. And now we see a little bit of movement there. Let's there we go. Now we're walking. Let's go to 20x. Now, of course, you can choose to zoom in a tad just to look at the action a little closer. And we will go over the full size view here in a second. But let's stop right here. Let's now choose to render all of these events. So for this particular player, I'm going to select all, and that's now going to show me on the map all of the events. And of course, we'll see them when they happened. So let's go back. Let's start seeing when we see events of interest. There we go. Okay, so now we connected again. Here we have a player conscious, so the player got knocked out around that area. And now let's go up a little bit. Another disconnection event. We moved all the way down here again. Another disconnection event. I'm trying to get to where stuff is being built. There we go. Okay, so let us now focus on this area here. I'm going to remove player connected and player disconnected just to give me a little bit more visibility into what's going on. So now that I know that this is kind of the area that I want to look at, I can go to the full size view. And on this one, of course, we support the zoom feature. And here, let me backtrack a little bit. There we go. So here we can see that there's a tent being placed. We're going to continue to play. Let's play it at 20x. There we go. There's a couple of fences being built. What else? It looks like the activity. Oh, there we go. There's a gate being built in this location. And then the player went left. It just happened really fast. And they disconnected. So now let's look at the secondary way of filtering for events. Of course, you can always select all of your gamer tags, and you can see that they all showed up here, and you can select all of the events, and all of this data will be rendered for you on the timeline. Just gonna move a little forward here so you can see ton of player activity going on around the map. There's people moving together. This is actually interesting. Let's look at these two over here. Let's go on the full size view. So now you can kind of see that these two players are moving together around the map. You can see movement kind of at the same time where this was happening. There we go. We see them going up. I forgot about something else that I just did accidentally. The trail, of course, is interpolated between positions that we get from the investigation. And you can see what an actual position was by clicking on the squares that show up in a trajectory. So for example, if the player really quickly went this way and then went this way, and the position is not registered by DayZ, we of course don't know about this one. So the way you can tell when actual positions were captured is by looking at these little squares that are color coded to the trail of the gamer tag. So if you click on this one, it'll actually give you the position that was recorded. This is especially important when people are driving, right? If they're driving a vehicle, this is probably not the route they took. They were probably on this road here, but this is the first time we picked up a position, and this will be the second one here. Right, okay, so going back to the second way you can filter for things. Let's say, for example, you want to know where somebody raised the flag, but you don't necessarily know who did it, or somebody lowered a flag. If you get a complaint that, hey, a player lowered my flag, if you've got thousands of players, it's going to be very time consuming to go through each and every one of these and clicking them and figure out who's got a flag event, right? That's when the event filter, where the event filter comes into place. So if you have no gamer tag selected, if you use the event filter, for example, and you type in flag, when you click this event, you can see there's only one race flag event that we found during the investigation. If you click the event, it will automatically select for you the player that has that event registered to him or her. So now, once that player is selected, I can move my slider to find where the event was, and here it is. The cool thing about the flag events is we will also record the type of the flag that was raised or lowered, and we do a little bit of that with the PvP kills as well. So let's find it. So this is actually a good use case for this. So let's say I want to find where somebody where there was a PvP kill occurring, but I don't necessarily know who. If I use the event filter for death and a death by player shows up, it'll now tell me the 2 players that actually have that event registered. And once I see that, I can then forward the slider, and that is where the event happens. So you can see, let's go in here and let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. Let's hit play 10x. There's a little bit of a pause here. Maybe that's a little bit of a conflict going on. Time is still moving forward. Let's see what we got. Let's speed this up a little bit. It's quite a bit of time. Let me drag the slider. Am I not looking at the right? Maybe I wasn't looking at the right event. Give me 1 second here. Ah, yes, I was in the wrong area. Okay, so let me go here. Did I not have the event selected? Okay, select that event. Ah, there we go. Okay, so now we have here the death by player event that took place, and of course if I click on it, it'll tell me the player that of course has the death event registered to him and who the killer was in that particular incident. And of course if I click on I survive, it'll give me the precise locations of where that event happened. All right. Excuse me. I think that is it for Sentinel Detective. I'm super excited what all of you are going to come up with and all of the different ways you're going to use this. And of course, as always, we track a whole bunch of stuff. See what that looks like. Wow. Lots of activity going on in that time period. It's also kind of cool to see how players are using your server, what areas they're frequenting more than others. So like I said, I'm very excited to hear your feedback and see how it helps you on your investigations. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one.